All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Andromeda Adventures for Endara the Second Age. We have all of our wonderful players here. Thank you for tuning in. Want to thank our wonderful producer, Nick, and all of our Patreons, as well as our sort of unofficial streaming partners and our wonderful friends over at Mythical Family. And give them a shout out. And Kira, go check out Kira on Prismatic Dragonfly Tavern that runs Sunday nights. Uh, what time is that at again, Kira?
It is at 7 p.m. PST.
Awesome. And then you can also check out Mythical Family live. They're doing a lot with RageCon in Reno, Nevada. We've mentioned that a few times on our, but Kara, would you mind telling our audience about it one more time? I'm sure you're getting used to it by
I might
now.
be used to it, but I've developed Pavlovian response to trying to say the dates at this point where I turn into a giggly mess, but I'll try it. James hasn't helped. No, James has contributed to this. But yes, RageCon. RageCon is a TTRPG board game, card game, all sorts of nerdery conventioning happening in Sparks, Nevada, June 30th to July 2nd. So it's coming up really fast. It's been going 8 years strong now, and you can attend for a single day, the entire weekend. And once you buy a pass for it, you have access to their online platform, and you can sign up for games that people are running. Did you ever want to play a Pathfinder one shot? Did you want to play a rare game that's been out of print for a long time? Did you want to play like one of the big games that just came out last year? Tons of people are going to be running it. You can sign up for one of their sessions. It'll tell you, where to meet them at the convention, what time, etc. And yeah, it's a blast. So we're going to be running a bunch of games from Mythical Family. I'm running two, and then I think like almost everybody else in Mythical Family is running like seven or more of them. And we also have panels. We're going to be doing a panel on TTRPG safety systems and diversity in gaming. So if you're in the Northern Nevada area, Northern California area, or you want to travel, come check it out, and we'll be there, and you should come hang out with us.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you there. A few of us in Andromeda Adventures are also going to be coming out and hanging out and wandering around the convention. So come see us. Check it out. Other than that, um, I think that's really all we've got for today for our announcements and intro. So, James, will you cue that intro? All right. So, Garth, will you catch our audience up on what happened last time in Andar the Second Age?
Surely, I will. Last session, after the Queen's death, we struggled to figure out what we would do. But eventually a plan was formed to put the bubble thing back up and keep the Queen there for a long time while we rested, and to revive her in the morning. Some of the soldiers came in and sent me to the medical triage tent, and I went back to the chateau afterwards. Everyone else staying the night in the bubble. When I got back to the chateau, I found out Cadoris and Barry were sick after their fight with the zombies. Uh, After the night, Magnar cast a spell to revive the queen, and she was revived. We were offered rooms to stay in at the palace, and in the morning, uh, some people took advantage of that and stayed there. Others waited for those who were staying to leave. That night, we had arrived back, all of us at the chateau, to discuss some important things, mainly what the fuck just happened. We had identified the rings. They're pretty fucked. Uh, a lot of bad negatives for attuning to them. that you would not like to have, but they're very powerful items. And instead of using them ourselves, we're going to destroy them, as we should, because they're very bad. Uh, we also discussed some very personal matters that ended with me losing my temper a little bit, Adrian. Just a little bit. It was also revealed that the Queen's personal guard were assassinated in their sleep, all of them. Valencia has declared war on Amaris, and during Magnar's revivify shenanigans, the Queen had angel wings for some reason. That's about it. I think I've got most of what happened. I may have missed something. My memory's a bit foggy.
We appreciate it, Garth. So that evening, you all are staying at the chateau in your various rooms, settling in for your long rest. It's a very welcome rest after the hectic day of running around trying to figure stuff out, reviving the queen, and sleeping on the marble grounds of the palace, and still recovering from the exhausting battle with Godric at the masquerade. So it was very easy for each of you to find rest. However, Westora, as you enter into your trance, you slip into the deep meditation, and your mind wanders off, returning to the ancient lands of the Fae to drift through them, seeing the arch trees and golden, multicolored, rainbow-hued canopies, a few fish swimming through the air, and bugs crawling around. Various strange creatures lurk across the land as you stroll through the wilderness. A small river slowly stops in front of you as it rises into the air in a reverse waterfall, forming a beautiful reflecting pool in the sky. The scent of flowers and fresh dew of the morning wafts through the air and embraces you, and there's a very pleasant warmth from the summer. And as you're peacefully strolling and embracing this sort of meditative rest, a deep chill runs across your skin as the hair stand up and goosebumps form, shiver down your spine, a unnatural, unseasonal shift in temperature. This cool air seems to swirl around. The sky shifts from its bright summer-lit day as all of the colors on the leaves begin to brown and fawn. And from the shadows that form as night besets this glorious and beautiful landscape, two peacock-like blue and green eyes, very reminiscent to the patterns on a peacock's feather, illuminate from the darkness, and a sultry, deep, feminine voice dances and plays on the wind as though carried by the rustle of the trees and plants. Oh, my dearest little snowdrift. It's been so long since we've had a chance to talk. Things are certainly picking up for you, aren't they? As from the shadows, the familiar long face and blue skin of Zomira of the changing colors steps forward. You can see her mane of illustrious green hair textured in wild, reflowing as though carried by the wind around various little autumn blooms and leaves tangled graciously in the nest. The purple and tan hues and greens of her gossamer gown, sort of sheer lace over the chest as it wraps and twists around, flowing into a long skirt, shifting between a sheerness and deep, thick colorings that you can't see through. Gold and silver vines seem to grow and entwine, living in the dress that she wears. Her long, curvaceous legs covered in thick, heavy avian scales that end in talons, while her long, accentuated arms with fingers with an extra digit extend with deep black nails. The shimmering eyes stare at you, the long, pointed ears, and you see behind her the familiar wings of leaves, all brown, tan, orange, and yellows of fall that seem to be continuously shifting between different greens and blues as they wither and grow and bloom in a constant cycle of seasons. Her legs daintily splay as she steps forward and just leans into the air, sitting on the air itself, crossing her legs and offering her arms wide as if to welcome you into an embrace.
Is it normal to offer such an embrace?
It's a little more friendly than you're used to. She's always been one to kind of have a closeness with her patrons and followers and supporters. Has a sort of sensuous intimacy and closeness, very huggy, graceful bowing, sort of a charming, often leaving kisses on the cheek or whatnot, or palms of the hand. But there's also sort of a distance and officialness. It's more of an air of show that she puts on for a bit of closeness, and this feels more genuine. Like you're reading her as if she is almost missing a long lost friend or family member.
Well, when she refers to Wasora's Snowdrift, there's a slight wince in Wasora's face that quickly passes, almost like she's more like surprised to hear that, and not quite sure what to make of it before it goes on. No, Wasora will approach and accept the embrace, so she'll go in, allow her to come back, and then once the embrace ends, she'll step back, do a curtsy, and I'm guessing mistress might be the way to refer to your patron. So I might say, mistress, it has been so long, I almost thought I wouldn't see you again.
Oh, I could never forget about you. I've just been very busy. I see you got my gift. And she kind of reaches for kind of grabbing your hand
Charm
and
bracelet.
tracing her fingers along the bracelet. It looks so good on you.
Thank you. It has been a reminder that you have not forgotten.
Oh, I could never forget you. You've done so well. I know there was all of the issues with our little ritual. I hope you're not too mad at me now that you've discovered what I was really up to.
I would have allowed. I was at least somewhat aware of the dangers involved, and that my life might be forfeit. I was willing to sacrifice.
And that's what's so beautiful about you. You see the bigger picture and why I need you. But I would never have left you alone for so long. It would have been a temporary thing. And with that little bit of power I gave you, you've cultivated it. And you're growing into such a fine woman and developing that power into your own. But things aren't quite finished. I understand you had an encounter with what we set loose.
Yes. Yes. My companions and I did fight, being
And
called Godric.
I'm aware of his name and the fact that even without any prompting, you knew my most heartfelt wishes to stop that oily man, Gilles, from getting his hands on that entity.
There was no desire among anybody, myself or my companions, to allow that man to gain access to whatever Godric had.
Well, and that's what we need to discuss. You see, things in the seasonal courts are troublesome. And I feel that you've come far enough that I can trust you with some of the details. You see, mortals are busy bickering and fighting their wars and battles, and this entity that we've unleashed is certainly going to add fuel to that fire. And it won't be long before the Fae themselves get dragged into this conflict. And we're not above a little bit of conflict ourselves. Gaofeng himself is still refusing to take the crown. And our kind are in desperate need of leadership. And in order to give that, we must create a symbol, something to unite them. And for that, we are going to need that entity. It is a darkness, that's true. But us Fae, we are above it. It cannot touch us the way that it seeps into the hearts of mortals. So, who better to protect the world from it than us?
I see.
Do you think you might be able to help me track this? You called him Godric, yes?
Yes. Yes, I did. I believe that we will endeavor to ensure the rightful place of the Fae in this matter.
I knew I could count on you. That leads me to my second request, if I might be so bold as to impeach upon it.
Of course, it's what I'm here for.
You have earned the favor of the people that surround you in there, with all of their little suspicions about magic and distrust of our kind. I think you might be able to subtly sway them, and would like for you to harness that influence, to take what you can from them and find those who might be interested in dealing with our kind. There's much we could offer and many wishes we could grant, and such inspiration we could bring to the people.
Do you
We
seek
just need a door to open.
do you seek allies?
Of course.
I will certainly speak of the wonders of the Fae and and of all that is here and of how we can benefit the world.
Mhm.
Remind everybody of that.
Thank you so much. You are truly the most precious person in my hold. And she kind of holds up and reaches out a hand and just tucks your hair behind your ear and kind of lifts you up to look in your eye in a very matronly, motherly way. It says, I'm so very proud of you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I think things are going to go very well for us.
I am certain that we will all get what is due to us.
Until next time, my little snowdrift.
I hope it's not nearly as long of a wait.
As do I. And your eyes spring open. You're surprised as your eyes opened to hear in the very early morning steps coming down the stairway, and shortly followed by the sound of pots and pans clanging in the kitchen.
Well, I have already cooked once. I have no plans on cooking again. So I am going to instead, because I do have to pass through the kitchen and go down there, go and take an early morning bath. Only glancing as I pass through the kitchen and maybe greeting whoever is there cooking.
All right. Anais, you had mentioned that you were going to be cooking breakfast this morning when we talked.
Yes. So last night, following the events of the masquerade, the aftermath of it, after everybody had the chance to talk and get feelings out and had some strong feelings spill out at the table, Anna excused herself and went to bed in the room that's been loaned to her upstairs. And after warding the door and everything, 7 ways to Sunday with what little magic she had left, she crashed to sleep. And she woke up rather early and decided that she was going to take a book from, or take a page from Astora's book and try to cook breakfast for everybody. So she got herself put together and she's back in her inquisitorial kind of outfit that everybody knows her by at this point, except she just has the overcoat kind of bundled up and thrown on a chair in the kitchen. But otherwise, it's her cream shirt, brown pants, boots with the harness on over everything, and her orange hair is kind of pulled up into a very small ponytail. Doesn't really have much. And she's got her sleeves rolled up to the shoulders, and she's in there making a very savory breakfast. So she's got bacon, eggs, and it seems like the biggest thing on the stove is a pot of some kind of like spicy potatoes that she's frying, like country style hash browns kind of thing. And she's just in there kind of really focused on what she's working on as Wistora peels through. So I don't even know if she'd see Wistora unless Wistora like made a sound or something like that. So she might miss her.
Wisora will, and when you walk in, say, smells delicious. When you look over, see Wistora is in like this icy blue colored bathrobe. She's got like a towel over one of her arms. She's got these little slippers that are like fuzzy on her toe tips. All of it's this sort of icy blue. It says, "You look like you've had some good rest."
As Wistora enters the room, you immediately notice the chill sort of breeze that flows in with her and the distinct scent of fall, that sort of petrichor smell in the air of fresh rain and dirt and aging trees that is very uncharacteristic of Westora. And Westora doesn't even necessarily seem to be aware of it, but unfortunately that sort of wind that blows in with her, lingering around her, blows out the flames on the range.
Anna will be kind of like lost in taking in all the new visual information and everything about Wistora, and then like twitches a bit as the flames go out. When I look at her before I respond to anything, do I see anything special with True Sight at all? Or is it just
You would see with your true sight little autumn leaves, ethereal, falling to the ground around her.
I look at the stove, look at Wistora. Do you have multiple glamours on right now to go take a bath by chance?
Glamours.
The leaves.
What leaves?
I see falling. She's just tapping her inquisitorial ring like that explains it at this point. I feel, or I see a bunch of falling leaves around you along with whatever just knocked the flames out.
Oh, I'm not sure what that could be. Frosty, in my character's experience, anytime she's been to the Fey realms, is this a common thing that happens when people return?
No.
Okay. And in that case, that is not an association.
This is, however, you are intelligent enough to. This is the first time ever since leaving the Fey realms that you've been visited and spoken to and been in the presence of your patron. That'd be the only
so
correlating.
It might be a result of meeting my patron then, not so much being in the Fey realm.
Yeah.
Okay. So no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was me out of character figuring it out. So Wasora will sit there and think, well, the Fae might, I suppose, rub off on you when you speak with them. And I did speak with my patron last night, so that could be a piece of it.
That makes sense. Sorry, it's bad habits at this point, commenting on everything.
Yeah, because unlike other people who have been accused of being warlocks while here in Anna East, I actually am one. So if you'll excuse me, I would like to take a bath.
Enjoy. There'll be food left over when you're done.
Yes, it might be cold by the time I'm done. I tend to take a while.
I'll leave a plate just in case.
Thank you. And Wasora goes down to take a nice long bath.
And she's gonna snap, 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 bring the flames back and get back to cooking.
As she's focused on it, just here behind you. What are you making?
Spicy potatoes, bacon, eggs. Nothing too fancy. I just
Good.
When you Anais, please make a chef's tools proficiency check with either intelligence or charisma. Don't have those, just a straight stat check.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you said intelligence or wisdom?
Charisma. Intelligence or charisma.
Intelligence or charisma. Sorry.
Spot on, perfect to the recipe, and
19.
Thank you. 19, yes.
Do you mind if I give you a hand? I mean, not with this. You seem to have it under control, but it seems to me that, well, I'm perfectly happy with a full savory breakfast. I feel like Elsbeth might complain a little bit, so can I add something else to the menu? Do you mind?
I mean, it's your kitchen. Feel free. I figured I would try. I mean, it's, yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to put something on the table for everybody else, and I figured Wastora's cooked for us, and I was time that I took a turn at it. And she's going to kind of lift up the potatoes and take them off the stove, and kind of move. By the time Hadrian showed up, most of it's done, so she's going to move it to like the island or the table, and kind of just like lay it out for people to serve themselves when they want.
And he'll start whipping up some batter and sort of chopping up some of the apples that Macy was playing with and mixing them with some sugar, nuts, and butter, and just boiling that a little bit to combine it. And starts. It's very sort of practiced, like almost making basically like sweet pancakes or crepes, but he's just like sort of going through the motions of this, and it would look a little. I'm not sure there's actually a thing like this, but he's just sort of going through creating sweet cinnamon pancakes and crepes, knowing that the small child will like sweet things. You can just hear him humming to himself. Sort of it sounds.
You'll also make a chef tools charisma or intelligence.
Yes, I will. Sorry. 24.
All right. So for those of you that eat the breakfast prepared by the two of them, you'll get a single guidance for the day, as they have both prepared an amazing breakfast that is refreshing, a bit more than your average meal after the recent events.
He'll yeah, once Hadrian goes off to cook pancakes, she'll just kind of dish her own plate up and sit down kind of at the head of the table, or I imagine it is the head, but kind of like wherever she sat down for the first time when she came in and everything that happens. So she's just gonna plop into her seat, and unless Hadrian says anything, she's gonna be quiet and just kind of like be staring at her food in kind of a disassociated state, eating.
He's not an idiot. He sees you're in a disassociated state, so he's going to go sit down, put the pan. You know, he doesn't take any of them. He's just sort of like trying to make sure that they're ready and keep them hot with a bit of magic. But beyond that, he's going to go and sit and, you know, like he'll serve himself some of the savory stuff.
And the dining room the stone is kind of old and yellowed along the walls. There's somewhat poor quality glass windows. They've got a little bit of a ripple in the glass. There's a few old wooden shelves and hutches around the sides of the room, and the main table's a very long, old and rustic, worn and chipped, what was once a very grand table, but obviously has not been replaced or maintained for quite some time. And the House Breton probably did not have a lot of money to spend on their furniture to replace things, or it was a point of pride how long the table had been in. And there are 3 chairs to the left and right sides, with a chair at the foot and a chair at the head. They're large, they're cushioned, sort of a velvet cushion and crowning, but the cushions are very drained of color and just as old as the table, and have occasional patches on them.
Was Hadrian going to let her sit in silence, or are they gonna eat in silence because the other people show up?
I think he'll stop eating in silence and just sort of like you would see his eyes like out of the corner of your eye, maybe like sort of like go up approvingly and just listen, I don't know about you, like I'm never somebody who can like talk about serious things right after I've woken up, even if I cook breakfast. I need to sort of get my head together, drown out occasional voices. But maybe after everyone gets together and heads out for the day, or after we all have breakfast and Bastora's bath is done, so 5 hours from now. I did want to talk to you about a couple of things, Elsbeth among them, but just
Fun fact.
if you're willing.
Fun facts about me. I actually am at my brightest during the morning typically, because I've always been a morning person, and she's like just taking small bites every so often. I quite enjoyed strolling around my neighborhood and eating breakfast at different locations and talking to my neighbors and kind of the people that I saw a lot on my patrol routes before I actually started my patrol route for the day. And beginning of
What's
the
that
day,
like?
huh?
What's that like?
What, the routine?
No, I mean having friends and neighbors that you chat to.
It's not what you think. I mean, it's nice, but it's not like they're truly deep friendships. But it's still nice. It's a nice way to start every day. It's more of it's a routine. That's what I like, is having a bit of routine in my life. And I like mornings because they wash away the stain of a bad day or the day that was previous. Today, there's a lot on my mind with everything with the Queen and everything that was said at this table. Last night, I don't think I've really recovered from the fight. But to answer you and to continue what I said with fun facts about me, because I feel generous right now.
Good to me.
I don't like being told that somebody wants to talk to me, and don't say anything. You don't need to change anything that you said. It's fine. We can talk later about whatever you want. Was that?
No, that was me zipping my mouth.
Oh, never seen that gesture. Makes sense.
Zippos were in Ishgadian. Sorry, never mind.
I like it when someone bumps into me and talks to me. I don't know why, because of maybe it's because of who I am and where I come from and a lot of different things that happened in my life, but I hate just for future reference when somebody says that they have to talk to me about things, because it feels like I have a parent all of a sudden or an authority figure, and I hate that sort of thing. So more just food for thought in the
Yeah,
future. Like bump into me. If you want to talk to me like something, talk to me like this. Don't make a big
Okay,
deal out of
that's
it
fine.
like alleyways.
I He just sort of stares down, eats for a second, then I did try to ask rather than say I need to talk to you. I said, if you're okay, can I? But I still appreciate that is a very, very semantic difference and that it comes off the same. May I ask something? In fact, I'm just going to ask it. If you hate authority figures, why be a Queen's Inquisitor? It kind of seems like a bit of a paradoxical occupation for somebody of that mindset and mentality.
Yes and no. You should read my book. Ask Magnar. I bet he knows the answer to that question, actually. I'll sign you a copy.
First of all, ha. Second of all, I'll read that book when you read my letter. Because I'm pretty sure one is longer than the other.
I read the letter a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Raise an eyebrow. Third.
I did. But anyway, to answer...
Doesn't answer my question.
It's the most... I said it better in the book, but it was a lot of subtext. Anyway, it's... Amaris is a flawed and broken city, like most, but it's the one that's got it the most right. And I'm not the most... Do you want a real answer? Or do you want me to start yelling at you? Amaris is the city that has it the most right. It's fucked up like so many other cities, and I know many people might actually argue with me that it's worse than a lot of cities. But the thing is, with the beliefs that make me me, and what's really important to me, magic is at the core of that, and education, the teaching people how to use magic, using magic for the right reasons, and using it to better people's lives in the world. And Amaris is the city that has it the most almost right. And being a Queen's Inquisitor helps me be in the right place to help the right people. So if it's the baker's kid, 2 blocks from my house for now, who suddenly demonstrated magical powers one day and burned a loaf of bread because fire started to spout from his fingertips, and I was able to smuggle him out of the city before it became an issue for their family, and he now lives with an aunt. That's worth it to me, to put up with authority figures like the Queen and Jill and the other Inquisitors and stuff like that. So I can swallow my pride. I can swallow the things that I don't like about authority, because I can use my influence to help change things and to help people. So it's not that it's a flawed, it's a flawed system. I hate authority, but it was the best choice.
I'm don't take this. I mean, you can take it however you want, obviously. You're your own person, but by working within the system, you're able to deal with the parts of the system that are broken, but you wouldn't need to work within the system if it wasn't broken in that particular way. It has it right, but the way it has it right is that it assigns the right to use magic to certain families on the basis of blood or wealth.
I mean, it does,
children.
but you also should probably know at this point that still, even with the bad things that they do, magical education here is still some of the best in the world, and it is freely available to a lot of the populace. But like I said, it's broken, Hadrian. I know that. It's just, this was the best choice out of a lot of shitty choices where I could try and make impact. And I'm one woman, and I'm not going to be able to tear down the system. I can fight from within and change from within.
Tearing down the system is Godric's thing, and I suppose it was mine at one point. Maybe still is. You said part of your beliefs, though. Why hold those?
What are my beliefs?
I mean, you said a belief is magic is core to who you are, and I'm asking why. Feel free to say fuck off. I'm just curious, legitimately. You're a bit of a paradoxical person. I
could do a book reading and have everybody come down, and then you'd really get some.
It's
it's a long story, but to give you a somewhat quickly summed up explanation, it's just and she actually pauses for the first time in the conversation and like leans back in the chair and then leans over to the side and like looks through like the kitchen has 2 entryways, right? Or 2 doors on it, or is it just the 1 door?
It does have 2 doors, the sort of one in, one out. Yeah.
Do I hear sounds of any other living creatures around right now besides Bastora who went down for the bath? Like, is anybody else moving around the house, or can I hear or see anything?
I think you'd still hear Garth passed out drunk.
Drunk snoring
Okay.
from the.
There is some gentle singing coming from the basement. You don't think it sounds very good though.
Memories
in
in the basement.
what would Magnar have woken up, or is Magnar sleeping in?
So he walks down now. Okay. So she hears the thumping and just doesn't really react like negatively or anything, just kind of like leans over to one side in the seat and takes another bite as she hears the footsteps. It's complicated, but I just believe that magic is a part of this world like everything else is, from the dirt under our feet to the meal that you are eating right now. And just like I think everybody should know how to cook scrambled eggs, I think everybody should know how to cast cure wounds or prestidigitation or create fire or manipulate water and things like that. It's traveling through this world without being able to understand or use magic is just not fair, especially to those that really want it, which is a lot of people. And that knowledge is gate kept to an insane amount in the world, and specifically by the gods. So I firmly believe that it should be part of everyone's lives, and most people don't agree with me, especially certain individuals. She like gestures upwards as Magnar walks in, or whenever Magnar walks
Yeah,
in.
what? What?
Yeah.
The gods are the gatekeepers. You don't need a bloody license to do what I
Yeah.
do.
There, see, I've been telling him he should read my book, Magnar. He keeps asking me questions that I think you already know the answer to about the magic. There's food if you want some.
Ah, I can tell. It's
Mm.
Westora being
Yeah,
cooking
I mean-
again. This is marvelous by the smell of it.
No, this is.
It was I did all the savory things. Hadrian did.
Yeah, I
the
made
pancakes.
a.
Oh,
I made
right.
No,
So
the-
breakfast
the-
and dessert by the smell of it.
the canal snack can the Guardian. I used to cook them for other. Yeah, just eat them.
Right. I think I'll start with the savory stuff if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
'Cause-
Yeah,
I mostly made them for Elspeth.
he was asking me about my views on magic, and I kept joking about that he should read my book.
Oh
And
yes. Yes, you should. It's yes.
I will.
Yeah, and the distilling of magic for practical use seems to be a safe way to do what you were saying, which is to allow everyday people to have access to spells whilst being in relative to complete safety. Like, by the sound of the soft singing, I'd say, Westora enjoying her magically warmed bath downstairs.
Exactly. We have fire contained in this kitchen, which used to be something that was a marvelous feat and still is in parts of the world. And if you sold simple scrolls and wands and different enchanted items that, people could use, it would better their lives. And it's not, the world isn't losing anything by giving them magic. And that's the thing that bothers me with.
Yeah.
Right. But you do enforce the
Devil's
licensing.
advocate, though.
Devil's advocate? I'd rather you didn't.
All right. I'd just go back and keep eating for a second. Just
As you guys have an awkward pause with that, the rather you wouldn't, you hear a thump, thump, and then a sound of something being dragged as you see Barry with a pot over his head, with Elsbeth riding him and a stick and a towel tied around her neck, dragging Garth into the kitchen or into the dining room as he's passed out. Come on, Brownie. We have to bring the sleeping giant to the great feast so that we can wake him from the cursed slumber.
I think this girl, like Hadrian's like staring at her, just like There's. How the fuck did you get? How the hell? How did you get Sari to do that?
They're writing. She says, "Retrieve the feast," and points her stick, and Barry bites onto the cloth,
Barry?
like tablecloth, and starts pulling it.
On the nose. I smack him on the nose.
It just keeps pulling and pulling until one of the plates of food that was laid out falls over and wakes Garth up as it smashes on his forehead.
Barry.
Oh. Oh.
Good morning.
Let's have a triumphant roar.
You gotta eat that, Garth. Don't let it go to waste. It was a lot of work.
Morning,
Hi.
everyone.
Morning.
Rise, cursed giant, we've saved you.
You've been saved. Partake in the banquet that has been bestowed upon your face.
Oh,
It's rather good, I can tell you that.
what is it?
It's breakfast.
Eggs.
What's a euphemism?
What is the euphemism?
It's a weird kind of expression. It's very boring. It's sort of a vocabulary thing. You wouldn't be interested in it.
I don't want to do boring stuff.
Yeah. I know.
Brownie, to the ancient woods, and push stick and Barry then walk off towards the patio.
Elsbeth, eat your breakfast before you go out.
To answer your question, Garth, it's potatoes, eggs, pancakes, and a bunch of spiced meats. So enjoy. And to answer your question, Magnarth, to answer your question, Magnar, or it wasn't really a question; it was more of a statement. But yes, I enforce the licensing system on the surface.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the whole thing of you getting, which by the way I very much admire, but it's still, I don't know.
Have I enforced the licensing system in the more generic sense? Yes, but I haven't dissected people or killed people or sent people to be executed. I have thrown ne'er-do-wells in jail for a day or two, sort of thing. But thankfully,
Have you made sure that they all?
Hmm?
Have you made sure that they all get out of jail or like live afterwards?
So the system's broken, Hadrian, but we're not goddamn murderers. Like, I'd say 90% of the people that bump into Inquisitors, or maybe depending on the area of the city and who you're encountering, like, it's not like these people vanish or it's not that bad. For the common infractions sort of thing. There's a lot of just, everyday citizens and people that don't get their paperwork in order, or, things like that happen too.
What are we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about magic in the city of Emery's and magic in general. So Hadrian was asking me questions. I know.
I see.
Not the best.
Can I make a history check on that, Frosty, by the way? Vanishes.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Please make it a disadvantage because you have not spent much time in Emery's.
No, that's fine. Just, 13.
No, they're fairly open about their crimes and punishments.
That's fair.
And people don't disappear. There's not much homeless. Like, it can be really hard to get a license, and if you're a traveler from somewhere else and you don't get a license and you're caught doing magic, like, there can be pretty severe punishments, but it's usually fines, jail time, as far as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Exile. But in cases where they do find a warlock, they take things more seriously. If it is someone you use, especially if they don't have a license that does something illegal or criminal with magic, they do have a bit of draconian, severe punishments, as far as you've heard, public hangings, executions.
So the whole one not murderous thing is a take, but it's not. Yeah, but I get it. Yeah, it's not that everybody who is taken in for practicing illegal magic is killed. It's just it happens. Got it.
Right, well, they hang murderers too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. It's just that murder is a pretty universal
reasonably
It's
sure
one
that
I'm
nobody.
very familiar with, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
think.
Yes. But I'm reasonably sure if somebody's like down the street and just catch out the corner of your eye them doing a prestidigitation on
Yeah.
themselves to smarten themselves up, that's not them for the chop.
No.
I don't know.
And honestly, the amount of magic that's probably cast in the city that's unlicensed to begin with every single day is a staggering amount. You have to get caught, you have to get seen. And the number of times that I would walk into a bar where something had been reported and there was a fight going on, and I could smell brimstone in the air, and I knew that a firebolt or something akin to that had been cast. Everybody just forgot who started the fight, and there was no evidence of who cast the bolt. Most of the time, I can't arrest anyone, nor can the other Inquisitors, or nor do they even bother with it because there is a lot of paperwork. You'd be surprised. Even Jill has to do a lot of it, and I think that might have been what actually turned him into such a dick. The amount of paperwork the man was buried in.
Do not believe that for a second, but fine.
Everyone's a little
Yeah.
human.
I can see him causing a lot of paperwork for others.
Yeah,
That too.
definitely. Speaking of books, by the way, I do need to ask you because we had that conversation last night.
I'll sign one for you.
And things like that. Oh, thank you. Yes, that was the worry that I had. That was what I was going to bring up in this moment. That I really just need your gorgeous signature on a book that you wrote, which you are going to get the proceeds for.
Thank you. I'll do it after breakfast.
Yeah, that's a
excellent.
that is a lovely thought.
Please sign it in the same fashion I signed the one to Jill DeRay, or got Macy to sign it to Jill DeRay. Like a little bit of an insult thrown in there.
I'll put a forward in for you, something fitting about
Please.
the
Motivational, maybe.
Yeah, no, exactly, Garth. Like I want it to be from the heart, and like maybe it'll touch on a topic dear to you, like Thunderstep.
That was fun. Getting
You were making a point or asking something.
Yeah. You were escalating an insult war, and I was participating as I do. But anyway, no, I was going to ask you. You mentioned that you'd seen or read about the things that I or Hadriel had done in various history books, and I was wondering, do you have them or like know their titles? Because it is embarrassing as fuck to not remember most of what I've done, and if it's a thing to try and help me not go down the inky black murder blah 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 path, it seems like information about what I was doing then might be helpful, because right now I am very much in the dark. It's sort of it's a lot of flashes and nothing very specific.
Not to interrupt, does anyone know where the ale is?
I didn't see any when I was cooking.
The ale?
Well, the trouble with getting the ale is that Barry will then find the ale, and then you've got a drunk bear in charge of Elspeth.
He's already drunk though. You know what? Here, but I don't know where the ale is, but here, I'll hand Garth like my now half empty bottle of scotch. But
Oh, take it, pick up my plate, and head to the lounge.
I'm gonna say at this point, y'all can hear like the door to the kitchen opening up from the basement. You can hear like somebody kind of humming to themselves, singing, "Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna round around." As you see Westora kind of walk into the kitchen. Her hair.
Quintilius got in your head.
That's it. That's right. That's true.
I would hope so. And she murdered him.
That is Quintilius's like alter thing, like Ricus Astilis or something like that. And
His stage name.
this is and Mr. comes walking in, her hair is all wet. She's drying off in a towel. She's got her blue bathrobe and her fuzzy blue slippers on. And in addition, she's got like this thick cream that's like covering her face, like all over. And she sort of continues humming as she goes over and then like sits down at the table and kind of grabs a plate of food and begins to eat.
And at this point, Anais, there are no more leaves falling around, and none of you catch that sort of false scent or cold wind. It's long since passed.
Very good bath.
Sounded like it. And the food's still warm, so.
And your singing is lovely.
That's
May I suggest
that's so I appreciate it.
No, I mean, like, Magna made that sound device. Could you turn it into a thing that projected that as sort of a sonic attack?
Yeah, very, very. I could still kill you, right?
But I haven't done the thing yet, and I don't plan to.
I can kill you for other reasons.
Okay, but now, but you told me that you would. The implication is that you'd have to tell me that there was now another reason. So, like, insulting your singing, you can add it to that, but it has to be pre, not post.
I think I'm allowed.
Okay,
to
fine.
Add reasons as needed.
He takes another bite of his food. Giant shit-eating grin still on his face. He's just like,
Amen to that.
That's right.
I think it's your prerogative as a person, though. I mean, like,
that's probably true, but people say it's because
I mean, again, if there's one thing I know, right, is that you have the prerogative to murder people for reasons.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Whereas you had the prerogative for kill. No, I'll stop.
No. I mean, that's the joke. I don't know what the reasons were, but I'm sure I came up with them. Which is again why I was asking about those history books. Take the conversation completely full circle.
And you notice, like, when the conversation shifts to the history books, like both when you brought it up and now when you're circling back to it, Anna's body language seizes up, and she definitely like changes for the moment that she addresses that, and she just tries to brush it off and goes, there's no books. It was a attempt to be a dick to you when I met you. So I don't actually have any answers in that. Now, when it comes to magic or the distillation of it or everything that Magnar was talking about, I know much more about that. So if Magnar has questions about that or anything, then I can answer that.
I respect your attempt at deflection, Magnar. Can I please have a copy of the book? Like, do you mind if I borrow it just to read through it? Because that was pro. So.
Yes. I'll pass my copy on to you later.
Thank
you. You'll have to mind my notes. I've kind of scribbled all over it, but yeah,
it's fine. I'm sure it's fascinating.
Yes,
honestly, those are books where somebody's written margins.
Yeah. Do your notes swear as much as you do when you're confused in real life? Because then I'm going to really enjoy this read, I think.
Well,
I'll take that.
The trouble is, I sort of switch into Dwarven at that point when I'm
sure I'll get the gist.
The runes get sort of bolder and bigger when I'm sort of
I like to curse in Sylvan myself. Sounds more elegant.
It does.
I like to curse in Abyssal or Infernal.
Which sounds horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Appropriate.
As long as plenty of languages that you can use, as long as it isn't that one that Godric uses.
Mythic, yeah. No, I mean, it is pretentious as fuck.
Yeah. But Magnar, did you have any questions about magic? I feel like we've had several conversations that got cut off.
That much is true.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you had anything that you had wanted to ask where we have a moment.
Well, I am a little perplexed. And I shouldn't be as a man of the cloth, so to speak. Why we allegedly appear to get so much of a buy for doing nigh on identical things.
In regards to Ameresian law, or
yeah, I don't need a license, so to speak.
It's a complicated, multifaceted answer, but I feel like what Emery's wants you to believe, my personal opinion as an Inquisitor, because it is more of a personal opinion thing that people don't really like to talk about, at least in my circles. I'm sure somebody out there talks more openly about it, but the source is pure, as opposed to a warlock where everyone assumes or implies that the warlock's magic is somehow tainted or evil or fell. And if it is coming from, as you said, a man of the cloth or a different source, it is somehow better, somehow more pure. And it's even different than arcane as well, because arcane can be twisted and often compared to warlock magic almost, with the evil things that you can do with arcane. But for some reason, divine magic is always just seen as a kinder sort of magic.
Isn't there clerics of evil gods?
There are, and that's where it gets sticky. It's not a perfect metaphor by
And
any means.
I'm a warlock. My patron is a fae. They're
Mhm.
not necessarily evil. Fickle,
Oh,
maybe, but not evil.
No, Wastora, I know that. I'm sorry. I hope I'm
I'm not talking about you personally. I mean,
yeah.
from
Okay. I
from
was hoping to say that I have been through.
religion law. Yes.
Yeah.
Pointing out like the
Philosophy, yeah.
the tricky part of assuming divine magic is.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the cobalt that I somewhat unfortunately had to guiding bolt, some week or so ago would be delighted to know that that came from a good place.
Right.
Exactly.
And I mean, like, what about me, right? Like, my magic comes from,
A horribly
like,
evil ancient force that we know very little about.
yeah, either that or just I
Maybe
mean,
he's the warlock.
it is divine magic, so I mean, either that or I'm secretly praying to a god.
You
But-
can have entire discussions about this, and trust me, some of the universities and some of the inquisitors and some of the nobles love to debate this until they're red in the face. My personal opinion is it's flour. It's a baking ingredient. Magic is a baking ingredient. Wherever you shop for your baking ingredients is up to you and your own personal faith or your own background or however you stumbled into it. It was something you were either born with, you made a pact, you made an agreement, you did the research, you prayed, one of a million things. But in the end, you got what we all got, which was a bag of flour. Because if you think about it, I can cast spells that Magnar can cast. I'm sure we have overlaps somewhere. And same with you and me, Hadrian, and maybe even you and me, Wastora, maybe. We're using the same thing to get, we're using like slightly different versions of flour to get to the end thing. If I am just not good with metaphors today, but I think you all
No,
what I'm trying to say.
Oh, that's
Got
why.
the same ingredients you guys do, yeah.
Yeah, that was hence my confusion over why you would agree to licenses for one and not for the other, when it's at the end of the day all the same flour that comes out.
It's how they keep people down.
Right.
The thing that often makes me beg the question. Let's say I wasn't a warlock.
Mhm.
I still have intrinsic abilities, like the ability to step from one location to another
Exactly.
at will, or change my appearance every night, or any number of things, which are clearly magical in nature. But I suppose an Eladrin in Emery's does not need a license for that.
I don't know. Jill did. I mean, Jill obviously was trumping.
Well,
up
Jill
charges,
implied
but-
everybody needed one.
but no, but
If Jill
apparently,
felt
like,
they needed one.
They literally accused me of an unlicensed use of healing hands, which is not a spell. It is something innate to the thing that I am, apparently. So, like, apparently, you do need a license, Wastora.
It depends again on the Inquisitor and other factors.
Jill threatened me, which was like clearly bogus by every
Right.
measure.
Because also,
he threatened me, but there was some legitimacy.
Yeah, you're a bloody warlock.
I am. Yes.
But again, if we're talking about who's more dangerous, then that also is the proper thing. Because if you threaten Magna, like, Magnar's magic has killed one person at this point in time.
That is not how you.
The aforementioned kobold.
I'd
They do
say
talk
me.
about danger, though. They do talk about danger. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Right.
the story is more. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
for all the
I'd
reasons.
say-
And I probably shouldn't say this, but the studying of the elements that I've been doing and the study of like how magic is imbued in the environment. You notice when the queen went off the balcony and I slowed her fall.
Mm.
I didn't pray for that one.
That
Have
was
you
just
been, like-
something innate.
No, that was. I felt that I'd been able to capture and store up and amplify the stronger winds to a calmer day, to direct them to coalesce at the point where I needed it and slow her fall.
Fascinating.
So you like engineered a
Right.
way of utilizing magic in a specific fashion, correct?
Right? Yes, that was what I was attempting to do, and it came off on that occasion.
Yeah. I mean, you've talked to me before about Asgardian shit. Like, that's unfortunately I'm not a mage, but like,
Right, no, that was magical engineering, near as I
Yeah.
could tell, at its absolute peak, and I think that's distinct again from the arcane and from the mythical. This was and from the holy. This was that Asgardian magic. I think is something else entirely, and I think that was what I was starting to tap into, and what I pulled off on that occasion.
these Canelsting Kea are also Asgardian magic. Much less impressive Asgardian magic, but feats of flower combination.
I mean, that's distinctly why I don't think magic should be controlled or licensed in any way, Magnar. And the jokes about my book that I've been using to taunt Hadrian with aside, that's why I wrote that stupid thing, is because I wanted to try and get those opinions out into the public and make people question it, because, well, I can't change anything. And in some ways, Jill and the others, no matter what plots they have, can't really change things to a certain degree. If the public, enough of them, became educated and demanded a change in the fact that, yes, it does not make sense that we would persecute Wastora for being a warlock, and we would allow you to guiding bolt any kobold that you wanted, to sort of thing. So that's why I wrote the book, to try and make people question it.
I think that says more about how little we value kobold lives. Somebody really should do something about that.
Mhm.
No goblins, kobolds. It seems like an almost indiscriminate killing.
Goblins,
Seems to be
kobolds,
acceptable.
Quintilius. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like we have
it's-
those three things.
Okay, now that is not okay, Adrian.
I'm sorry.
Very dark.
Very dark. I know. Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. In fairness, I know it wasn't your fault. You did mention he was already dead.
Well,
That's
Otherwise-
kind of a key point when you're accusing somebody of killing somebody if the person that they're killing is already dead. Like, that's not something to gloss over. Like,
I don't generally feel guilt about it, but it is something that is not something I like to think about.
That's understandable, of course.
Mm.
right, we should probably stop talking about it then.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right.
I will say, out of character, her seriousness is probably somewhat diminished by the cream that still is on her face.
Yeah, that's what I've been picturing. It's great.
Yeah.
And Anais, one of the things that you're aware of, due to your unique history and study of it, is that for Emery's, as with any country, there's the history of the rulers and politics of the time and demands of the people shaping some of the laws and perceptions thereof. But that long ago, before the war with Aldwin, Emery's was an isolationist country and did not have the magical license system.
Mm-hmm.
They were just a flourishing magocracy. And when Aldwin came and waged his war, and Emery's had to find allies in order to survive, and all of the countries in the area had to ally against Aldwin's forces, the alliance between all of them led to, and the very superior magic of Amaris and the reputation of its schools led to demands from other countries to be able to attend and visit and interact with Amaris, and for Amaris to have to interact with them, and share that resources and knowledge for kind of a political betterment amongst all of these places, and the well-being of everybody in this alliance. And the licenses arose as a result of the Amerasian people fearing similar circumstances to Aldwin and such. And divine magic, because of the sort of inborn belief that Amerasians and the descendants of the houses and all that are tied to Ao, divine magic, or those that, while still policed, will, an inquisitor that's really concerned about policing and keeping people safe won't care what the magic form is. But someone that's bought more into the propaganda of the Amerasian way of life would believe that those with divine magic are the same as the nobles, and why a nobleman of one of the houses that happened to be a warlock could get away with kind of doing whatever kind of magic that wasn't against the law. Why they could get away with it is that the belief is that they have divine blood and that their magic is divine, and that other people who have divine magic is part of that right given to them by the gods.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't that they get away with crimes and can just do whatever they want. That has more to do with political position and power.
Yeah.
But they tend to be able to skirt by the laws a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's sort of the history that your character would be aware of.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Even if you were joking about it, using it as a pro, now I do want to read that book, actually, so I'll pick up a copy of it. But what are we all doing until we have to go meet with the Queen? What's
well,
everyone's agenda?
I've taken my hourly bath.
How can it be an hourly bath if you spend multiple hours in the bath?
Well, I have to wait an hour between baths. That makes it hour.
Okay, so yeah, you're about to.
And you're like, you'd missed a few, so you had to stack them up.
That's right. You see, yes, Magnar understands.
I need to take you up on the offer of using that bath at some point.
You should.
I should take you.
The ones in the rooms in the palace are amazing.
I was gonna say I've had them offered a multitude of times.
You
and
know,
it's always
they
fun
actually
to.
put to your room. Like there's like plumbing, like actual plumbing. In the palace.
Really?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised, but yeah, that sounds really nice.
It's
After
lovely.
the last couple of
Very
days.
lovely. Yeah, and it's very nice soaps. Smells amazing. Very relaxing.
I have a nice one that I ended up getting for myself in my house, but the heating is
Ooh.
all my own magic for it, and just, it takes a bit. But
Unfortunately, I don't have spells that allow me to do that. You know that prestidigitation thing? Yeah, I don't have that. No.
I know, and I hope that you've never taken offense to my comments, or with my comments about magic in general, or the fact that I am forgetful when it comes to the types of spells that everyone can cast, because I have spent most of my life buried in a wizard's tower when I'm not out on my patrol, and you lose perspective sometimes when you're sitting in stacks and stacks and stacks of books and scrolls, and you just kind of assume certain things are common knowledge, and I never mean anything ill by it when I mention.
Don't worry,
it before.
I've never been offended by you.
Adrian is just sharing a look with Garth and like almost breaking down, laughing at the mention.
Garth's in the lounge.
Oh, he's not.
I'm not there. I'm in the lounge.
Okay, Adrian's just breaking down then. Sorry.
We're used to it happening. Like nobody's questioning
Yeah.
Adrian breaking.
Well, you guys
to
are
the side.
having your nice little discussion. Garth, you were sitting in the lounge with your beer and breakfast.
Scotch, I believe, right? Actually,
Yep, there's scotch and breakfast.
Yeah.
Cadorus would come down the stairs while they're in the middle of their discussion, kind of looking around, just his blouse sort of hanging open, and he's got his tights on, and hair a little messy. So he's just kind of straightening it out, kind of sniffs the air.
Garth's got his hair down for the first time. I think anyone's ever seen him with his hair down.
Muscles rippling as he stretches.
Usually it's pulled into a really tight bun. Looks very damaged, frayed, not taken care of very well.
There you are, Mr. Goth. He comes over and just hearing the chatter in the dining room, kind of, why are you not eating with your friends?
They're discussing magic and shit. It's not
Then
much.
shouldn't they speak to you, the powerful warlock?
I'm not really great at knowing much of magic. It's not really my cup of tea to discuss.
It's just an innate talent, I understand.
Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of it. So I set up in here.
What was that?
So I set up in here to eat breakfast. Oh, there's some on the table if you want some. Go ahead.
Well, regardless of what they choose to talk about, wouldn't it be nice to at least enjoy their company and allow them to enjoy yours? We could have breakfast, just the two of us. I know a wonderful great place if you're not full.
Sure, I've got nothing going on.
Allow me to fix my dress a little bit upstairs, and
Go ahead.
and I shall show you.
By the way, we're doing some more archery practice today, so be ready.
Of course.
But go on, get ready. I'll be here, I guess.
I will be back shortly.
Sure.
He heads back upstairs and takes a little bit of time changing, comes down with his hand and dressed up in the full sort of masquerade gala garb that he was wearing when he came over. And he's like, I suppose it's a little bit much for just a morning's breakfast, but I suppose one should look their best on a first date, right?
Garth's currently wearing his furs and leathers again. He's kind of ditched the masquerade garb. It's not befitting of him. I suppose. What is a date?
You see him turn bright red. Oh, it is you're teasing me. Right?
No.
You know, when two people appreciate each other's company and want to allow their time to be a bit more precious and personal between the two of them, they set out to do something special and talk and communicate. Sometimes it's just to get to know one another and grow in closeness together. And
not really ringing any bells. No.
Then I take it you have not had a date before?
I guess I've had something similar. From the way you describe it. Oh, back home, we would send out 2 or 3 of us sometimes to go out, scouting for land or hunting.
And you would grow closer with your hunting fellows?
We try to spread out as much as we can.
I suppose in a while, in a group traveling across the tribe is the word. Yes, that would be an important aspect. Were these common? Have you done this a lot?
Yeah, quite a bit. My big responsibility. Words are very tough at the moment. My apologies.
It was your responsibility to the tribe. I mean, I know you're impressive, but I mean, I did not realize that your whole tribe saw what's in you. I do.
My main role was when we would move. We moved quite a bit.
You see him turning redder.
I would lead the front. At the front, I would find and scout ahead and find dangers if I can. Stuff like that.
Dangerous.
Oh yeah. I know Barry seems like very nice.
Were these extremely vigorous dates?
Have you I suppose you've gone hunting once with me, but like, we didn't really kill anything that time. Much.
You'll have to. So you said like what we went on that trip was a part of sort of your tribe's dating ritual, your courtship ritual. Yes. So um, you've shown me at least some of your courtship ritual. Why don't I show you what a date is like in Emery's?
All right, sure. Oh, by the way, if we can today at some point, I've got to go find somebody. I believe he was staying at Madame du Pompadour's, last I knew. I'm gonna go see
So-
if he's still there.
I understand that your tribe was a bit communal, but then in Emery's, it's usually common for a date to be just between two people.
Oh no, yeah, of course. After all date thing, yeah. At some point today.
Okay. I understand now. I'm sorry. Um, of course, silly me. But yeah, allow me to show you an Amerisian date, and while we are out, if you feel like being as vigorous as your tribe preferred, I look forward to it.
Well, I'm not gonna kill anybody here.
I would hope not. I don't.
Typically the point of hunting is to.
But you said
Find
that there
a-
was sort of you taking the lead with these other people
Yeah.
and bonding
Leading.
together on these dates and leading them, showing them what to do.
Yeah, you teach them. You teach them how to. Well, you usually get taught when you're young how to
Oh.
hunt.
How that's certainly different from our culture. We usually think that one has to kind of reach a maturity before they partake in such activities.
I mean, usually, if you make it past the first big test is you usually
They have a test. Oh,
buy a body of water. Oh, they kind of throw you in
sup-
there, and then if you make it, you make it. If not, you don't.
so they just throw the people into the water and allow them to vigorously froth around until they figure it out.
And if you don't, you don't. It's usually the first sign if they have it or not.
If they can figure, I suppose, if they feel that inclination, it should come natural. If they aren't prepared or know what they're feeling like they want, of course they aren't ready, and you would have to. Okay, I think I begin to understand.
Yeah.
It is enlightening. I very curious about your ways. You'll have to demonstrate this water frothing to me at some point. But
Oh,
So
it's just swimming. You're just learning how to swim. But let's get going. We don't have all day. I think we do. Actually, do we have all day? I'm not sure. I've been.
why don't you go ask while I process a little
Right.
bit? I
Yeah.
feel a little confused, but excited.
Let's say 7 minutes ish. Or leave.
All right.
And I'll walk into the kitchen at this point.
You can hear him at a what of swimming white and deep. Well, to each culture their own. Value diversity.
I'll walk in and I'll ask. Don't mean to interrupt anything going on important.
You never do.
Do we have all day today to do anything?
Individual. I don't think we have plans. No.
I'm waiting
I
for the
think we're
queen.
entitled to a day off after what we've just been through.
Yeah, we are waiting for the queen, but we have no idea when that's going to happen. And
I don't think
And-
we have plans, Garth.
Awesome. I'm gonna go get breakfast with Cadorus.
Oh, enjoy.
I'll be back at some point, I think.
Well, if you need to stay out, that's okay.
Why would I stay up my bed here?
Well, you never
And
know where
be
the day
in
will
life
take you.
when you come back, I suppose. But
Just make sure, to make sure he brings you back at a reasonable hour. Your mom and I worry.
Oh,
yeah, Barry and Wistora do worry. That's true.
Right. I'm gonna head
Yeah.
out.
Enjoy.
Take it easy, everyone.
You take it easy too, God.
Remember our talk of the birds and the bees.
He knows about animals. He's good with them. Just don't use metaphors. He won't get it.
I think that's partly why this has been entertaining. Is that nobody seems to understand metaphors in this household.
Yeah.
Well, they seem rather pointless and obfuscating the point. So yes, I don't have much truck for them myself.
What's a truck?
And
right.
after breakfast at some point, I'd like to try to locate Gregory if I can.
So as you're talking to, are you asking being like, "Hey, I've got to go," or
No, it's
like after breakfast?
after breakfast. Just head to Madame de Pompadour's, see if he's there. If not, he's not here. Don't look too deep into it. It'd be nice to see if I could find him.
You would head to Madame de Pompadour's, and outside, you would see her, the madam, throwing what looks like bags and chests of stuff at Leon, and you can hear oh, ow, and stuff being picked up inside, and Leon just I only hit him once. He was being a jerk. He said he could wrestle. I do not care. Get out of here, you brute. Where do I go? I don't care. You broke the rules. Now get out. Carrying this stuff. Oh, gets it. Oh, hi.
Hello, Leon.
Green guy.
Hello. How are you doing? You seem to be busy at the moment.
Yeah.
Did you hit somebody from what I gather?
Well, the white-haired guy started saying that they were better at magic and sword fighting than everybody else and could see what was about to happen and was amazing and bragging about big words and
What a dick.
that he could, yeah, and he said that no one could catch him by surprise, so I punched him. I thought he'd dodge.
Whitehead guy, do you know this name?
Vaughn. He's one of the guests.
No fucking clue.
I don't want to stay here anyway.
Yeah, you stick it to him, Leon.
I got my pride.
Oh, you back to Marcouche, I suppose, then?
Yeah. Party was fun. Wish there was more like that. It was like a Marcousian party.
That's what Marcousian parties are like, eh?
A bad one, a slow one, but yeah.
That's a slow. Right, if I'm ever at Marcouche, I'll make sure to get a hold of you to get one of these parties.
You should come to Arashava.
I would love to. Well, I
ain't got no place to go. Why don't you come with? You and your friend.
I have more friends I'm staying with. The Queen wants to see us at some point. It's a whole big mess, but at some point, I'll try to make it down to Arashava.
All right.
Well, safe travels.
By my sister. I'm sure she's somewhere. And he kind of hangs his head and trudges off. Stupid tight beds and proper rooms, not enough meat, and no fighting, no punching anybody. Just grumbling as he walks away.
Madam.
Ah, Mr. Stonefist.
Hello. Is
Cadoris. Nice to meet you.
yes, this is Cadoris, Madam. Is Grigori still here by chance?
I haven't seen him since the masquerade. I've been beginning to fear the worst. If you do see or hear of him, please let me know.
I have an idea.
Oh, Cadoris kind of looks at you. Of course you do.
He'll
But,
touch his earring. He'll send a sending to Grigori. I gotta pick my words carefully. This gets sent, by the way. Hello, Grigori. It is me, Garth. You wanted to talk about Nylea. If you get this, meet me at the Chateau Breton in Amaris. You can reply. Am I too many words? I don't know. Let's see what he got.
You would hear back. Good to hear. Must not harm. Out of wilderness, the hunt, it beckons. Hunger, no. Innocence, no innocence.
Wilderness of hunt. Not home.
A very long howl.
Oh no, I think he's been attacked by wolves.
Oh, we should go get your friends. The end of our date can wait till later.
Yeah, this is. Let's go back to the chateau. Yeah.
But
sorry, madame. Have a great day.
Maybe next time you're free, we could stay at Madame de Pompadour's together.
Sure, why not? Rooms here are free.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Yeah, he kind of giggles and like just quickly kind of holds your hand, and then we can. It'll be a wonderful time. Yes, let's go find your friends. Let's make sure they're okay.
Yes, let's head back to the chateau.
You guys make your way back through town. What are the rest of you doing for the next little bit of time?
With Stora, after that conversation, we'll go up to a room and change and come back down. Without the cream on her face this time.
So many innuendos. So
you dirty mind, Dick. And she'll probably sit down in the. I guess this place does not have a library.
lounge.
Lounge. She'll sit down in the lounge. And she'll be sitting there, perhaps looking a bit lost in thought, kind of thing.
It does have a bit of a study on the lower level. It's more of an office, like big desk, fireplace, bookshelves.
Does it have one of those big overstuffed chairs?
Yes, it's old and
leathery. Yeah, some bits. Perfect. She'll sit down in there and kind of. If it was a cooler day, she'd have a fire going. For now, she'll just sit there and be kind of by herself for a bit.
All right.
After breakfast, we'll still have that. So if there's no books, I would like to go to back to the Ultimate exhibit. Sort of with the knowledge that I was part of that, maybe see if I can find anything, any answers there.
As you approach the Musée de Croix,
I wasn't. Wait! I haven't left yet. I was still talking to people. Like I was talking.
I thought you were saying that you were heading out.
No, I'm telling everyone else. I'm telling everyone else.
Misunderstood.
And I was gonna say, And by the way, I'm sure the place is still on lockdown. So if because I definitely resemble a certain person who just attacked the masquerade, if anybody wanted to come with me to vouch for the fact that I was not that person, I'd welcome it. But otherwise, beyond that,
You want to go anywhere near the museum?
I don't think that. Yeah, I highly recommend that you don't. Not that I can stop you, but
I understand that you might be wanting to look for answers. Do you really think we'll find some there, even though we've already been there several times?
My mind and my memory is a broken, scattered landscape of things flying around in crazy patterns. I don't know, right? I was there before I knew, and now I know, and I don't know, and
if you wish to go, I will go with you.
No, it's fine. You're right. It's a bad idea. I don't need to get you all into more trouble than I already have.
Well, perhaps what we could talk about is another alternative. If the museum is maybe not the best place, if you want to look for something connected to Alduin to see if you can connect some memories, is there something else about Alduin in the city or nearby that might bring back some memories?
Other than the fact that he wielded the Black Blade, which is not in the city.
What about if you supposedly you fought with him or something like that, right? You served in his army.
No. Yes, apparently.
Well, what if there must be famous battle sites? Or
yeah, the city though, not in
didn't he not threaten Amaris to its core? And they had to
I don't think they. Correct me if I'm wrong, Frosty, but I don't think he ever got into the city itself.
Make a history check.
Vestora honestly just doesn't know. She's just assuming that.
Do I get any advantage, disadvantage? Nothing, because
Nope, just a straight history check.
Anna's not going to say anything, but she'd be thinking about it too.
11.
You can make a history check as well, Anais.
Would I have advantage because I have my memories at all, or would I have any bonuses to it?
Have amnesia.
No. A lot was going on during the war. It's been a long time.
13.
Yeah.
So you both can recall the basics, knowing recalling this specific battle here on this day and that time is a bit beyond you, but the farthest west in Lumeria that Alduin's forces reached was Astria, when Alduin's forces are, according to history, the only army that has ever been able to conquer the city of Nexus. Nexus has always stood, fought, and repelled, and since its founding, near the beginning of the Second Age, and his forces were making the battle where he was defeated was Versailles, where the Astrians, the people of Jeru, the Amaresians, the Thumerians, and the Cutanians all caught him between the Great Mountains and defeated him, and his forces that were scattered in the area retreated back to the lands of Wallachia. And that's how Wallachia became established.
Breathe in and just there's nothing nearby here. It's fine. I don't have to go to the museum. I'm sorry. Again, seeing Godric yesterday and realizing that
No, I mean your instincts are good.
No, I know. It's just I don't have anything except for the vague knowledge that I was some sort of epic terror, and now, like all of you, God's yelling at me to go fight a different epic terror. The fact that there's no in between is starting to fucking freak me out, right?
Well,
and
maybe if we try to think of this in more long term, we will at some point have to think about our next steps. We could go on a journey to some of these locales, any of these places that might trigger a memory, and see if we can learn more. You want to get rid of those black wings? Maybe this is a part of that.
You really want to trigger those memories when apparently triggering things causes that?
Sometimes, for us to find peace, we have to go through some dark.
I don't want to put you
memories.
all through having to fight me every time we have a like.
Well, I mean, it's either we find out more about your past or we don't. And I, for one, am more about finding out more of your past and reconciling that rather than trying to ignore it.
Mhm.
I don't think ignoring your past is going to find you any answers or peace.
No, I know. Okay. Well, then, for all of you, I will not go to the museum, and I don't know. Like, other than that, Anais, if you have like a bar or a haunt or like a weird tourist attraction you would be willing to show us at some point later in the day, we could maybe bring all of us there. And otherwise I'm gonna go sit and think, try and see if I can remember anything.
I mean, you could also just enjoy the day. There's no reason that you have to constantly kill yourself about the past or trying to remember memories. You could be like Wastora and take a bath and just enjoy life for a little bit instead of being so. And I say this with kindness, even though it's not going to come off that way. You don't need to be so dramatic all the
And
time.
that's
And I'm not.
where we will take our break for this week. James, if you with the don't have to be so dramatic.
And
James, if
break.
you'll put
Yep.
us on break.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Sorry, our wonderful DM Frosty is feeling ill, poorly, and we will have to end our session early today. So we will pick up next time, probably with a meeting with the Queen after the group has decided what to do, and hopefully at some point with exploring Anais's tour of Amaris parts 1 and 2, or something along those lines. And stay tuned to see how long it takes Garth to understand the basics of the birds and the bees and flirting, I think. But we all wish Frosty the best. And until next week, good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow. There's your mythical primordial.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Night all.